everybody, and welcome to the Penelope Possum channel with me, your hostess, the Penelope Possum. Is me, everybody. Did I really just call you guys every pony? Whatever. Right. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. This is fine. Anyways. 4 lives. Night 3. Let's go beaches. I'd give literally anything to just be able to kill him.
Oh, hey, you're doing great. Most people don't last this long. I mean, you know,
Hello.
they usually move on to other things by now. I'm not implying that they die. That's not what I meant. Anyway, I better not take up too much of your time. Things are getting real tonight. Hey, listen, I had an idea. If you happen to get caught and want to avoid getting stuffed into a Freddy suit, try playing dead. You know, go limp. Then there's a chance that maybe they'll think that you're an empty costume instead. Then again, if they think you're an empty costume, they might try to stuff a mental skeleton into you. I wonder how that would work. Yeah, never mind. Scratch that. It's best just not to get caught.
Okay, so she's in the,
Okay, I'll leave you to it. See you on the flip side.
she's in the, kitchen. Shit, fuck, shit, fuck, shit. Foxy's already out. Shit. Oh, fucking hell. God, damn it. Oh, no. It's no bueno, bros. I've got the distinctive feeling we're going to die. Shit. Oh, pee. Oh, it's not good. It's very bad. It's indeed bad. Even honking Freddy knows no help. Why was Foxy out that early? Foxy should not have been out that early. This spells bad news bears, bros. Chica's in the kitchen. That's fine. Hey Chica, while you're in the kitchen, could you make me a snack? I'd like a snack. Oh. Oh, Freddy's gone too. Freddy's gone. Freddy's gone. Freddy's gone. Freddy's gone. Is that Freddy? I think that's Freddy. Shit. Shit. Fuck. They're all out. They're all out. They're all out. They're all out. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. That's not good. That is bad. Go away, Fox. You already saw that you're not in there anymore. Well, that's not ideal. Go away, Chica! No! Fuck you! Darn it, I was hoping squeaking the nose would do something. I don't have enough power to get through the night, guys. And I hear Freddy's theme music. I'm gonna die. Fuck! Fuck you, Chica. You fucking chicken piece of shit. Goddamn piece of chicken asshole. Yeah, whatever. I died. 3 lives left. Guys, I might just be stuck on night 3 for infinity. Like, it might just... It scared me too. I honestly didn't notice Chica till it was too late. Okay, we're gonna listen for footy footsteps. Only check the cameras when we need to. And only close the doors when we need to. Try to use the lights as seldom as possible. And squeak the Freddy nose. Why doesn't the cupcake do anything? Eventually, yeah, maybe. The difficulty is just cranked up. Okay, so Chica's already in the kitchen. That's great. Okay, she's near the restrooms now. There's someone over there. I fucking swear. There's someone over near Pirates Cove. I swear. But who would be near Pirates Cove? Or why? Do you think... Now, we've all seen the face in Pirates Cove, right? Like, we all confirm that wasn't just me tripping. Spooky crafting the mine. Minecraft's not that spooky, man. No, I actually have some spooky, scary, flavored videos lined up already for after this. That was a weird little, screen glitch, huh? I'm so hyper paranoid. Okay, right now Chica's the only one that's moving, and that's fine. That's great, actually. Love that. It's fine if it's just Chica for... Okay, so everybody's out now again. Great. No jump scares. Someone's in the kitchen. Oh shit. We're halfway through the night again. Got a little bit over half power. I think we can make it as long as nobody decides to be a bitch and like yell at me, because that's all this really be. It really just be a bunch of furry mascots coming to yell at you. Alright, this is fine. Everything's fine. I didn't even see her! I did not see Chica! Where the hell did she come from? No, that was straight up bullshit. Where the fuck did Chica come from?
Hey, I'm gonna try to get some rest before I have to leave.
Okay, I'll try not to yell. Okay, so Exploder Jones is going to take a nap now before he has to go to work. So we're gonna try not to yell. That's gonna be a fun challenge. But try not to scream in abstract terror. So grab your possum plushies and hold on tight, dear viewer. It's gonna be a rough time. 2 lives left. She's in the kitchen. Like, I know I can't destroy them or anything, but why can't I protect myself? For real, why can I not protect myself from them in any way? Like, can I not just, you know, run away? Am I stuck here somehow? Is my character paralyzed? Or is it just so shocking? Okay. She's in the kitchen again. He's getting closer. I'm not gonna let this chicken shit scare me again. Not again. Ha! Caught you that time, you bint. Why do I even need powered doors? Just regular doors would be effectively just regular steel doors. Like, why can't I just have regular steel doors to close? Okay, Foxy's fine. Chica's fucked off for now. They start getting real skedaddly near the middle of the night. No, you can close both doors, but it takes up so much power that, yeah, you'll basically be screwed for the rest of the game. Come on, Chica, leave. Leave, Chica, go away. Go away, Chica. Right, well, Chica's being a bitch, that's great. Right. We got this, broskies. And wouldn't a flashlight make more sense? Why wouldn't I bring a flashlight? Once again, I don't think no pessimism. I'm going to make it this time. This is gonna be the time, guys. We're totally going to beat night 3 today. We've got this. We've totally got this. It's already 4. Only got 2 more hours to go. A good amount of power left. We can do it. Don't forget, you're not allowed to actually destroy them, or else your boss will get mad at you. Freddy's being a bastard. Asshole. It's 5 a.m. We've only got 1 hour left. And still a good amount of power left. So close. So very close. We almost had it. We really, really almost had it, guys. Man. We were so close to having night 3 in the pocket. And then Foxy had to be a goddamn bastard. Ah, man. Okay. Let's give it another go. Last try for the night. And we'll continue next Saturday. How does Markiplier do this? Okay. We've got it in the bag this time, guys. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I know we've got this. We just gotta keep an eye on everybody. Also, I do not think I'm gonna do 20-20-20 mode. I'm not gonna do all 20 mode on any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. There's no banner. Haha, funny number. Okay, cool. Everybody's out. Everybody's out. That's fine. It's fine. Totally fine. We've got this. We've got this. We've got this. We've got this, guys. Okay, that's fine. This is fine. Completely and totally fine. See, we're fine. Completely and utterly fine. We're going to make it this time. We're going to make it past night 3 and go straight to night 4. There's nothing that can stop us. No Freddy fart bears or whatever have you. Be doing us a murder tonight. Why did the music suddenly get louder for half a second? Nope. We did it. We beat night 3. Holy cow. I'm shaking. For night 4, I'll try O.J. Simpson's suggestion to open all the doors and do nothing. See if that helps me win. But, we're going to watch some stuff here. We've got Dr. Bob, IMR, Scary Tales, and Valox.
Picture yourself as a small water bug moving.
Ready? Here we go. This is Dr. Bob, SCP-5688, the hand.
Picture yourself as a small water bug moving across the surface of a pond. The depths of the water below, impossibly vast for your tiny size, and yet you have the ability to ignore all that lies under, because your movement is limited to the surface. That tension is all that keeps your reality from falling apart, though it easily could. All it would take would be for a human to put their hand in the water and to make a splash. All of a sudden, the water that you stood on with such stability has revealed its true form, a chaotic and ever-shifting maelstrom that beings far greater than you can alter on a whim. For the water bug, the hand that disturbs the surface of its small reality is so unknowably large and strong that it is worthy of reverence and abject terror, even without any awareness or knowledge of the titanic organism, the human, it is connected to and operated by. While we, as humans ourselves, have the capacity to understand this metaphor, it offers us as little consolation as the fact that the water bug can stand on the pond's surface. We were made to call this unstable reality our home, and to believe that we are solidly present and important within it. But there are undoubtedly beings within reality that exist beyond our wildest comprehension, and some of them possess hands just like ours.
Wow.
A fearful man in a prison suit arrives at a bus stop with little memory of how he got there. All the prisoner knows is that the road he is on is only a few miles from his hometown, a place that he hasn't seen since his unfortunate turn to a life of crime. Vague recollections of being arrested and institutionalized in a correctional facility seem to cloud his mind, but there are some details of the site he was detained at that seem all too fantastical. Though he was understandably quite anxious about the gaps in his consciousness, the prospect of returning home after all this time filled the prisoner with a sense
Oh boy, this guy's not gonna make it home, is he?
of warm catharsis. He jogged down the road with an almost celebratory glee, reminded of all the times he did so as a youth. The hard cement beneath his feet felt like miles of silk and lace, with how nostalgic it was to be back. The prisoner wondered to himself who would be there waiting for him among his old friends and relatives. He knew his parents wouldn't be there, obviously. But when it came to the townies that he went to school with, there were a few that he knew he had to pay a visit to. The road stretched on in an unusual spiral pattern, but despite that, it was surely the same path that led the prisoner into town. He made it to Main Street in the exact amount of time he thought it would take him, and that was even with the bizarre spiral he ran through on the way there. He thought that perhaps he was only imagining the weirdness of the familiar but unnerving road. Perhaps he was imagining all of it. For a few brief moments, the prisoner's surroundings became a confined and nearly lightless chamber. His first thought was that it was a jail cell, his jail cell. But when he saw what else was inside the containment unit, His mind fumbled for explanations. Within the center of the chamber was a truly enormous human hand. It was not attached to any arm or body of any description, but its errant twitching made it obvious to the prisoner that it was still alive. The prisoner screamed and jumped back into the main street of his hometown, which was where he was, and also where he had been this entire time. Obviously. Perhaps a cup of coffee over at Smith's Diner would take the edge off my nerves, he thought. The route back to his nostalgic teenage hangout was exactly as he'd remembered.
Sorry about that. And I don't have anything to drink. Be right back. Oh, I actually have a bit of a horror story, like a real life horror story to tell you guys that happened to me recently. Are you ready? Okay. So where I work, a variety of people come in on a daily basis. Recently, a guy who's not all there mentally, let's just say that, has been coming in and making himself a nuisance. Not enough to call the cops, but just enough to be annoying. Hello, Sherry. Say hello to the internet, Sherry. Why do you have fleas on you? I'm gonna have to give you a bath. Anyways, this schizophrenic dude recently made himself a big enough threat that we had to call the cops. He came in and started threatening one of my coworkers with violence, keeping her trapped in one of the rooms that customers aren't allowed to go into. It was really scary. I'm just glad nobody really got hurt and he got apprehended by the law before anything else had a chance to happen. But now there's a case against him for our location. If he dares step foot on that property again, we have to call the cops.
That had to be a good sign. Although when he stepped inside the old diner, things were not as the prisoner had expected. There was nobody sitting at any of the tables, which were once packed every day of the week back in the day. The only other person in the diner was the barista behind the counter, whose face seemed inexplicably hazed in shadow. The prisoner was somehow sure that the barista must have been one of his old friends, who had managed to stay out of trouble and become a key holder at Smith's back during their teenage years. He had always thought that his friend would have a future there throughout his adult years, which, while something that a young person might dread, the prospect of a stable job felt much more ideal now that the prisoner had experienced the consequences of a criminal career. He called out to his friend, who seemed unusually focused on operating the coffee machine. This wouldn't be unusual if there were actually customers in the diner, but their absence made this behavior especially strange. The prisoner was talking loud enough for his friend to hear him, but there was no response. Perhaps a solitary person might be reluctant to acknowledge somebody wearing an orange prisoner jumpsuit, even if they knew them at one time. The prisoner would not be deterred and approached his old friend, banging on the coffee machine itself to get his attention. This did manage to get the barista to look his way, but a wave of regret washed over the prisoner when he realized something was very wrong with his friend. The shadows that strangely clung to the barista's face were swirling like black water going down a drain, a sinking void in place of his head. The prisoner thought he was staring into infinity, but deep inside the dark hole that was his friend's face, he could see that same hand from his previous vision, twitching in the darkness. There was something deeply disturbing about this hand, despite, or maybe because of, it seemed unaware of the prisoner's existence. It was likely related to the strange happenings, but there was no way to reason with it. He turned and ran back for the front door of Smith's diner, convinced that whatever he was looking at was no longer his friend, if it ever was. He barreled through the entrance, and to his discomfort, found himself entering into the same room. The interior was identical to how it was just moments ago, but with the one exception of the barista being gone as well. The prisoner was now feeling an uneasy sense of déjà vu. Was this the first time he had entered Smith's diner since he got to town? He couldn't tell, and rather than staying inside and waiting for something more unusual to occur, he left the diner. As soon as he stepped through the door, the memories of seeing his friend, the barista, faded into his subconscious. It couldn't have happened. It was a dream to him. Although at the same time, the prisoner couldn't shake the feeling that he had just been woken up. Given the increasingly disorienting nature of the situation, the prisoner elected to change his approach to exploring this apparently altered version of his hometown. He would go pay a direct visit to the house of one of his teenage acquaintances, hoping to find at least some ordinary people he could talk to. He didn't have a car, so he would have to make the trek on foot. Though being a lifetime criminal meant that the prisoner wasn't above a little Grand Theft Auto, there weren't any cars on the sidewalk to steal. While his hometown was always small in terms of population, it was rarely bustling with activity. The distances between houses because of forestation and agriculture meant that motor vehicles had always been a necessity for the function of the community. To see none of them, and no people either, was not a good omen.
This seems like a dream. And I think the hand has something to do with it.
The prisoner still remembered the streets well enough and made his way to his cousin's house while shaking off the feeling of encroaching dread and loneliness. Though he had been mostly a friend of circumstance, the prisoner's cousin was one of his oldest and strongest familial bonds. The two of them had even been local nuisances for the cops together, jaywalking and loitering all over town. As opposed to the prisoner's cousin had grown out of committing crime. However, it was likely that his cousin could still be an understanding presence if he could reach him. Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be anyone home at his cousin's house. The prisoner knocked on the front door and back door and checked every window for activity on the inside. The lights were on, but there were no people visible within, let alone the prisoner's cousin. He realized again that his appearance as a jailbird might have been alarming, and that the home's occupants could be hiding from him. Then again, he hadn't seen the police or any police cruisers anywhere. Surely if he was thought to be dangerous, somebody in town would have reported him. Right now, even the attention of law enforcement, however unwelcome it would be in most circumstances, would feel like a calmingly normal event. This caused the prisoner's thoughts to spiral again as he became paranoid that nobody had been there to witness him since he had come back to town. What if everyone was gone? Frightened, the prisoner picked a broken chunk of cement off the ground and hurled it through the window of his cousin's house. To his surprise, he was struck from behind by that very same chunk of cement. As he looked down at the solid object that he himself had thrown, he heard a sudden noise that sounded like breaking glass. Looking back at the window which he had thrown the rock at, the prisoner saw that the glass had been shattered in a distinctive spiral pattern.
What the hell?
The window itself.
Hold on. This story reminds me of this story here. Which, if you haven't read or don't know what it's about, it's basically about a town that's cursed by spirals.
Was intact, showing no other signs of damage, but the strange spiral seemed carved almost intentionally. Beyond the now distorted glass, the prisoner could see that the interior of the house had been replaced all at once with an entirely different, but now all too recognizable chamber. It was a dark place with that very same enormous, disembodied hand. Without even knowing he had done it, the chunk of cement was once again in the prisoner's hand. Absent-mindedly, he hurled the cement again into the window, this time breaking its surface into 1,000 shards. The unsettling reflection was gone, and the inside of the house had returned to normal, or at least returned to the expected. There was still no sign of the prisoner's cousin, but he had committed to entering the house now. He stepped through the window, unnerved by the lack of an alarm. As the saying goes, it was quiet. Too quiet. He wandered through the familiar house, through darkened hallways and up and down bizarre liminal sets of stairs. It took him a long time to realize that his cousin's house was much larger than he remembered. This was no wonder, as deeper into his delve within the cavernous interior, the prisoner could see that parts of his childhood home had been incorporated into the building. This did not...
Oh yeah, this is definitely like some kind of fucked up dream. The hand has to be puppeteering this strange fever dream. For what purpose, though? Does it not know what it's doing? Is this some kind of strange hypnosis to gain something? Or is it like the... Well... Is it more like a kid splashing a puddle with a water bug and accidentally drowning it?
Bode well, as his parents' house was the place in town he least wanted to be. But there was no clear way back outside. After ascending a spiral staircase, the prisoner found himself at the door of his parents' bedroom. Somewhere deep in his subconscious, he knew what was waiting for him inside that room. He did not want to open the door. The shadows seemed to grow taller all around him, and as the prisoner turned away from the door, he came face to face with his cousin. Or rather, it was his face looking at a similar void pit to his barista friend, where his cousin's head should have been. Within the umbral darkness of his cousin's whole face, the hand seemed to point towards the door. The prisoner looked on in horror as his cousin also pointed towards the door with one of his own hands. He wanted to close his eyes, to deny what was in front of him, but the image persisted, and the strange disruptions to his senses only became more pronounced. He was hearing things that should not have been happening, partly because they had already happened long ago. The strained voices of his parents gurgling on their own blood seemed to emanate from behind the door. He could hear bludgeoning sounds that repeated at irregular intervals, drowning out and weakening the voices, but not entirely eliminating them. The prisoner could not close his eyes nor plug his ears. Instead, he was transfixed on the twitching hand. Was it testing him? Did it know everything he knew? If I go in there, they'll die. They'll die because I'm the one who took their lives from them.
Holy shit.
His thoughts were as loud as the cries of pain, but somehow a message from beyond his perception blared through and reminded him of the truth, where he really was. D34678, get out of there. This is your only lifeline. It was the voice of the warden of his correctional facility. No, they weren't wardens. Researchers. And I'm part of their test. They're testing the hand. As quickly as his fracturing psyche was able to put everything together, the door opened behind him, and out stepped a younger version of himself, carrying a bloody aluminum baseball bat. The prisoner looked this other self in the eye, causing a mutual panic between the two. In fear for his future, the young murderer swung the bat and hit the strange older man in the prison jumper hard in the skull. There can't be witnesses, he thought, making sure that his handiwork was fatal. The prisoner did not survive, and apparently neither did his younger self. When the research team from SCP Foundation Site-22 entered the containment chamber, they found that D34678 had beaten his own body into disrepair with a blunt instrument that had never physically existed. D34678's entire phantasmal return to his hometown and his subsequent accidental death being an incident that happened entirely because of the distorted reality of SCP-5688. The giant hand, measuring 3 meters tall and 1 meter wide, is a Euclid-class object that, while animate, does not appear to possess an active psyche. The only movements that SCP-5688 has been known to display are entirely random nerve spasms, which can neither be predicted nor provoked. The hand was discovered beneath Site-22, entirely buried in the dirt and rock of the Earth's crust. It is currently unknown how long the hand had been lying dormant in the place of its discovery, and the only reason that it was unearthed was a planned expansion to the subterranean containment portion of Site-22. The construction project was completed, and SCP-5688 was placed inside one of the newly built containment units. Experiments into the nature of SCP-5688 have revealed that it has an ambient reality warping effect on its surroundings. Usually, this is limited to the chamber where it has been stored, and for that reason, it is meant to remain there so that containment procedures can be upheld. The variance and severity of reality warping that occurs during interaction with SCP-5688 is still being extensively researched through the use of D-Class personnel. While the hand doesn't inflict any direct violence upon the test subjects, there have been a number of casualties among the D-Class due to the completely unpredictable nature of SCP-5688's effects on reality. D34678's assignment had merely been to observe SCP-5688 uninterrupted for as long as possible, and the unexplained bludgeoning that resulted in his death was only one of the many ways that the altered reality could have manifested. Curiously, another D-Class, D7452, had been assigned to puncture the flesh of SCP-5688 with a spear in order to see if the hand would defend itself from attack. The results were ultimately inconclusive, as the spear was unable to make contact with SCP-5688. The wood and metal twisting into a spiral shape, along with several of D7452's fingers.
Yeah, this is definitely like Uzumaki. I wouldn't be surprised if they're connected in some way.
7452 felt no pain during the transmutation of his digits, but nonetheless required corrective surgery to detach his hand from the spear. These results raise one of the most unusual pieces of information regarding SCP-5688's reality warping properties, that being the prevalence of spiral patterns. Whether it is the appearance of spiraling shadows or objects becoming bent and reshaped into a spiral formation, it is oddly common for the hand tamperings to repeat this modification. Though there doesn't appear to be a root cause behind the consistent appearance of these spirals, it does suggest that SCP-5688 is not fully chaotic and random in the way that it influences reality.
Yeah, that is a disturbing thought. Hand wrapped and more like warped into a spear. What I'm thinking is that this hand is the curse that affected the town in the comic of Uzumaki by Junji Ito. or at least something similar to it. Which, if you, dear viewers, have never read that comic, I would suggest to read it. I don't know where you'd be able to find it currently, though. I'd suggest maybe just looking up Uzumaki, Uzumaki. I'm certain you'll find some way to read it. Just like I did.
Perhaps the spiral is somehow linked to the Fibonacci sequence, a recursive mathematical sequence that is associated with the golden ratio, an underlying symmetry that is believed to indicate the universal beauty of visual phenomena. Others
That's what
might
I'm
say that
thinking.
spirals are a lot more inherently unnerving, as the idea of endless recursion implies an inescapable and hypnotic eternity. The intention
I think both are true. In Uzumaki, it goes into both of these phenomenon. The Fibonacci-like beauty of the spirals, while also the inescapable recursion horror that they represent as well. Ultimately, at the end of the story, everything gets consumed by the spirals. There was never any escape that anybody could hope for. And they all died for nothing.
if any, behind the hand's affinity for spirals cannot be discerned at this time. Those spirals are far from the only trick up the sleeve of SCP-5688's non-existent arm, as it has the ability to trap those who interact with it in impressionist mind prisons that are imperceptible from the outside. Within these delusional sub-realities, almost anything can happen, or at the same time, not happen. The rules of time and space are suspended, and this can result in a number of...
Yeah, it does seem like it taps into the evil things you've done and warps your reality around them. The infinite, inescapable recursion theme pops up again. Yet I feel like if you brought someone who hadn't done anything wrong into the chamber, something else entirely might happen. You might get a more Fibonacci-esque conclusion to the story. Bring in someone who has no bad deeds to tap into, and you will find the beauty of the spiral, the golden ratio.
alterations that cannot be replicated or conceived of outside of describing the results of the test. In a test involving one D-Class, the subject both died in a gratuitous explosive fashion, and yet also lived through the experiment, albeit trapped in an inaccessible state of suspended sleep. Both results were recorded by the Foundation, and both are effectively true, with the research team present at Site-22 recalling both events with perfect clarity. SCP-5688 has the uncanny ability to allow contradictory outcomes to occur within the same moment and span of time. Measuring and cataloging the numerous effects of SCP-5688's reality distortion are certainly the primary source of research into the Euclid-class object, but there is a secondary purpose to the tests that are being conducted. Dr. Henrik, a veteran researcher of Site-22,
Not surprising, but I wonder. Can we truly think of any person who is truly free of evil deeds? I could think of a few who might fit the bill. Truly unselfish and giving and loving people in the world. it definitely seems to tap into latent memories and ideas. So I wonder what would happen if you put a baby into the room with it. With no inherent memories or subconscious thought, what would happen? Would anything happen?
22 has been adamant about acquiring a functional DNA sample from SCP-5688. Though attempts to extract such a sample have proved to be a Herculean task, the importance of this endeavor is paramount to Dr. Henrik. Ever since a brush with SCP-5688's tendency to create pocket realities, Dr. Henrik has been reasonably convinced that the hand is somehow a replication or alternate universe variant of his own hand. This theory does not have much in the way of proof outside of Dr.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, but it also seems to tap into the subconscious, and considering subconscious thought has not been developed yet with an infant, what would happen? I feel like nothing would happen, or everything would happen.
Henrik's testimony on his own experience with the hand, as well as the experiment log that was updated without the knowledge of any member of the research team. An inference could be made about the location of SCP-5688's discovery, and that its proximity to Site-22 could imply a connection between Dr. Henrik and the hand. This wouldn't be the first time that an SCP was believed to have been brought into existence as a result of a researcher being exposed to warped reality, especially if the theory that connects SCP-106, the Old Man, and Dr. Robert Scranton is to be believed.
Oh, that's a whole story. Okay, I need to tell you guys about Robert Scranton and the Old Man. The Old Man is an SCP, humanoid in shape and form, although seems to be a very badly corroded and decayed body of an older man. Hence the name Old Man. Was once a researcher by the name of Dr. Robert Scranton. We've heard this name before, the Scranton Reality Stabilizers. Well, I think it's best if Dr. Bob himself actually tells you about Robert Scranton. Because, of course, there is a Dr. Bob video about this possible story. Here he is.
You've seen his face before, probably during a particularly distressing bout of sleep paralysis. His appearance can vary a bit from manifestation to manifestation, but a few traits are always present. He resembles an elderly man. His touch corrodes everything in his path. His presence creates a disgusting, black, mucus-like substance thought to be a method of pre-digestion of his prey. And he is rotting. No matter his appearance, he is always in some stage of decomposition. Gray skin sloughing away from yellowed bone, eyes milky and flat, but brimming with malice, wide, toothless mouth stretched into a wicked grin. The entity is incredibly difficult to contain. Its corrosive properties and ability to vanish into solid matter and disappear into its pocket dimension layer make it a threat as unpredictable as it is dangerous. The smell of decay and the presence of visible corrosion on any surfaces nearby may be the only warning a person gets before the old man grabs them in his decomposing arms, dragging them off to a painful, terrifying demise. We know where the being disappears to and have learned a great deal about how he operates. But where did he come from? It is the year 2000. Dr. Robert Scranton and his wife, Dr. Anna Lang, are the head researchers at SCP Foundation Site-120. Over the course of their happy relationship, the two have been working on an experimental research project, an early prototype reality anchor device called the Lang-Scranton Stabilizer.
I'm sure we've heard of these before on the channel, the Lang-Scranton Stabilizers.
After a lot of late nights at the office, working and reworking the theory, it is, at long last, ready for testing. Dr. Scranton is standing in Reality Lab A as Dr. Lang observes from a nearby room. He follows the same routine he has followed each time they tested the LSS, walking down a line of buttons and levers, pressing and flipping each into place. The little red blinking light signifies that the microphone is recording his every comment and observation. Suddenly, the routine is broken by a low rumbling sound from deep, deep within the earth.
And here comes the
The ground
bad
beneath
part.
him begins to shake, and Dr. Scranton stumbles, losing his balance as the once solid floor begins to roil and quake as the seismic shift rolls through the site. He hears the unmistakable grind and splintering of metal and plastic as the LSS-2 begins to shake, components sliding out of place and breaking off. Nearby, Dr. Lang's monitor goes dark as the security feed is cut short by the earthquake's damage. "Robert!" she screams, making a break for the door and rushing to Reality Lab A, terrified that she will find her husband's body lying on the floor. When she and the guards reach the room, however, they find nothing. Well, not nothing entirely. The room is a wreck, bits of machinery strewn across the floor, the smell of burning plastic in the air. But the Lang-Scranton Scrambler's control panel and Dr. Robert Scranton are nowhere to be found. Dr. Lang falls to her knees in the suddenly empty room, pounding at the floor in despair. "Where did he go?" she demands, but of course, no one knows the answer. No one wants to say what they're thinking. Wherever he is, Dr. Scranton is probably dead.
Yeah.
Probably long, long gone, and he is never coming back. But no one says it, not out loud. They just think it, and keep thinking it, for the next 5 years, 11 months, and 21 days. The time passes, and most everyone forgets about Dr. Robert Scranton. Everyone except for Dr. Anna Lang. She never gives up hope, never lets go of the possibility that somewhere, in another world, another time, on another planet, her love is still alive.
Poor thing.
One day she wakes up and it's December 23rd, 2005. A day like any other, save for its uncomfortable proximity to the holidays she struggles to celebrate nowadays. But then, in the middle of the day, something impossible happens. The LSS control panel reappears in Reality Lab A.
Grody.
It isn't how anyone last saw it, though. It's coated in some sort of unidentified organic matter, and it reeks of blood, vomit, and decay. As her colleagues try to shield her from the sight, try to warn her away, Dr. Anna Lang wades into the area, desperate for a glimpse at any sign of her husband's fate. As she makes her way into the containment field, she is unable to contain her horror. "Oh God, what the hell? What is all this? This is the... Oh God, Robert? Is this you? Oh God, please, no, don't let it be you, Robert, I thought, how can this thing be?" Her colleagues try to stop her, but she touches the Lang-Scranton stabilizer interface, and it fires to life. It still works. Somehow it still works.
That's
She racks her
crazy,
brain for what to do next, before saying, "Access audio log, playback starting from January 2nd, 2000. The machine prompts her to verbally state her password, and her voice shakes as she replies, "Password is Anna Bobana." "Request acknowledged. Processing," the machine replies. "I'm sorry. There are no audio logs for January 2nd, 2000. Dr. Scranton accessed log on January 13th, 2000, via voice recognition at time." Anna slams her hands down on the machine with a cry. "Playback now! Damn it, play it back!" A researcher warns her not to touch any of the material with her bare hands, but she doesn't hear him. She is too busy, calling out to Robert, hoping that somehow, somewhere, he can hear her. "There's so much blood here, there's so much... Honey, are you okay? Where did you go? Oh God, oh God, oh God." Something small and metallic clatters to the floor, lost in the sludge. She retrieves it, wipes it off on her lab coat, and holds it to the light. She would recognize it anywhere. She slipped it onto her true love's finger on the happiest day of her life. It's Robert's wedding ring. Her knees buckle at the realization. She collapses to the ground, and her head cracks against the floor.
Poor
One of her
thing.
colleagues snaps into action.
Damn.
"Report, this is Dr. Matthew Skinner reporting from Site 120 Reality Lab A. I need medical attention here immediately." Once Dr. Lang recovers from her fall, she demands access to the rematerialized control panel. She's going to go through the audio logs one by one and find out exactly what happened to her husband, even if the truth is as ugly as she fears. The machine whirs to...
Seriously, you just found your probably dead husband's ring in a pile of viscera. You're really thinking he might be alive?
To life, and her lost love's voice emanates from the speakers.
Name, Robert Scranton. Age, 39. Birthday, September 19th, 1961. Favorite color, blue. Favorite song, Living on a Prayer. Wife, Anna. She has green eyes.
I love her very much. He repeated these simple truths to himself for days before he even realized that the control panel was picking up his voice. My name is Robert Scranton. Yeah, my name is Robert Scranton, former researcher at Foundation Site 120. It has been... don't know, actually. I can't remember. I estimate it's been 10 days, but I can't... Oh, God. Can anyone hear me? I don't know what's happened. I don't know where I am, and please, is anyone there? Hello? Anyone? Anyone? He began keeping track of how much time passed as best he could. 2 weeks, 3 days, 7 hours, and 58 minutes. Oh, Jesus. Back at the Foundation, with at least a tenuous knowledge of where Dr. Scranton could be, personnel try their best to stage some kind of rescue effort. A mobile task force team is ordered to attempt to replicate the experiment with a hastily assembled Lang-Scranton stabilizer copy. The result is an explosion that kills 3 of them. Senior researchers also approach SCP-343, a powerful reality warper known to some as God, hoping to get some insight from him about where Dr. Scranton could be found. His response is, "He's beyond any of us now. I'm truly, dreadfully sorry." Anna starts having nightmares. She twists and turns in bed, haunted by visions of her beloved Robert consumed by darkness. A strange specter starts to appear in her dreams, a man with a horrible, rotted face. She turns to her bedside table in the night, numbers blurry on the screen of her alarm clock. The photograph of herself and Robert that she keeps there. Something is wrong with him, wrong with his face. Is it that same awful, rotted man? She screams and closes her eyes. When she opens them, the photo is normal again. She weeps into her pillow. It can't keep going on like this. This place, it's some sort of reality gap, I think.
Jesus.
If I don't concentrate on it, it's fine, but I feel this tingling all over my face. I'm not sure why.
2 months, 15 days, 4 hours.
Anna begins to accept the horrible truth. She may not see Robert ever again, and holding on to the foolish fantasy that she will is starting to kill her. She repeats it to herself like a mantra at work. Robert Scranton is dead. Robert Scranton is dead. Robert Scranton is dead. One day, a coworker notices her muttering and strikes up a conversation. It's been years since Robert disappeared. What's the harm in talking to someone again? She even finds herself smiling and laughing at his jokes, but when he asks if she'd like to go for coffee, she gets a flash of Robert screaming in the darkness, of that terrible, rotted face, grinning. She runs to the bathroom to throw up and weep. The tingling in my face has worsened. I wish I could sleep here. But all this damn gunfire overhead, can't take it anymore.
Jesus.
Can't take it. Trench foot, shell shock. Hell would be a reprieve in a place like this. And all the men, all the poor souls who look up to me, call me Corporal. What a jerk. To think I have any more idea of what's going on here. Anna can hear it in his voice. He's getting worn down. As Anna feels her emotions start to dull and fade, she begins accepting more
He's lost his mind, hasn't he?
dangerous assignments from her superiors, perhaps hoping just to feel something again. She works on the SCP-682 case, trying to devise more futile termination methods. She spends time with SCP-939, the abominations known as With Many Voices, until they start to imitate Robert's voice, and she knows that she can't do this anymore. She works with SCP-280, Eyes in the Dark, feeling no fear whatsoever as it floats towards her. The worst thing that could possibly happen to her has happened already. Now, she's just waiting, killing time, she has no idea of the further horrors to come. Lately, I've been hearing whispers in the dark. I think the rats are talking to me.
Of course, they've both lost their minds. Robert Scranton's been stuck in a pocket dimension for who knows how long, living through some kind of imaginary war. That I think is truly just his mind trying to bring some kind of something to the space so that it makes sense. And Anna Lang was a first-hand witness to her own husband being ripped from reality and turned into soup, essentially. A crueler fate I could not imagine for any two people, especially two who were so deeply in love with each other.
Funny. My troops must think me mad. What does it matter? This is a mad place, a mad time. A mad man is perhaps best suited to a time like this.
So many went over the top yesterday, only to be cut down by machine gun fire. Isn't it odd that I laughed? It was so funny.
I think perhaps this mental malady is connected to a physical one. Nosebleeds and vomiting spells. A strange, black liquid. Faintly acidic to the touch. So delicious. So fun. My troops tell me I look unwell. Like anything about this is well. Maybe I'll sneak into one of their bedsits tonight and teach them to lighten up a bit. None of them smile anymore. Me, I'm always smiling.
Jesus.
I'll teach those little cowards to smile too. But as she listens to more of the logs, she's forced to reckon with the fact it really isn't him anymore. Not as she'd ever known him. He'd become something else. All the others are dead. All my good, hard work, making them dead. I followed them down the length of the trench. Their silly little bullets didn't hurt me. Oh no. Oh no. The look on their faces. All.
I think, if I'm correct, the helmets look like they're from World War I? I could be incorrect about this, but they look very similar to World War I helmets for American troops, I think. But I think this is supposed to be taking place during World War II, because that's when trench warfare was done, right? Right?
What?
Trenches weren't really used in World War I, right?
World War I was the trench war.
Right. So this is definitely the First World War.
Trenches were useless after World War I.
Right, because the entire battlefield had changed by then. So this is definitely supposed to be during the First World War. Which is interesting to think. How his mind got transported to such an odd time. Although I guess, considering when this was supposed to have taken place, no, not even then, it wouldn't have been recent. It still would have been years, many years after. The Second War would have been closer. Just has
The screaming
no idea.
as they saw me. How thrilling to savor their fear as I approached. All those screams. What are you, you horrible old man? I showed them what I am. I can walk through walls now, you know. Have all the fun I want. Yes, yes, yes. Nothing can hurt me anymore. And I can hurt everyone. And when the war is over, I'll go home. Go home to my sweetheart. I know she's waiting for me. I can't wait to see her, to touch her beautiful face. My lovely
Anna.
Hearing him like this, so broken, so utterly transformed, it's too much for her to bear. But the work always needs her, and she returns to it day after day. One night, she sits up late, making her way through a stack of paperwork, when she hears it. A curious sound. Drip, drip, drip. Something thick dripping steadily onto the floor behind her. The smell of rot fills her nostrils, making her gag. She turns and comes face to face with SCP-106.
Formerly known as Dr. Robert Scranton.
Dripping its slimy black mucus onto the floor, bringing decay to everything it touches. It reaches out toward her, grasping at her arm. She breaks free, but not before its touch melts away the fibers of her lab coat, threatening to seep through the fabric to her skin. All the while, it's staring straight at her, like it knows her. Anna runs out of the lab as fast as she can, shouting for help. A guard tries to come to her assistance, firing his weapon at the old man, but the bullets don't leave a dent, don't even slow him down. The old man grabs the weapon from the guard's hands, letting the metal rust, warp, and melt in his grasp. Then he turns his corrosive touch on the guard's face. Anna screams in horror at the sight, but she can do nothing to help him. All that she can do is keep running and hope that the monster doesn't catch her. She runs as fast as her legs can carry her, but she isn't as young as she once was, and years of sitting at a desk have made her muscles stiff and weak. Her foot hits the ground at just the wrong angle, and she stumbles, falling to the ground. She scrambles back to her feet, but when she looks up, something is horribly wrong. Her surroundings have changed. It looks like the Foundation site, but it's not quite the same. It's as if someone tried to recreate the facility from memory and couldn't retain all of the details. Then she hears it again. The drip, drip, drip. He's here. She spins around, and there it is. That awful face, so close to her own. She takes a trembling step back when suddenly, the monster speaks. It's him. She knows it, as surely as she knows that she is about to die. The monster that once was Robert Scranton reaches out and caresses Anna's cheek with his wrinkled hand. She screams as the skin begins to droop, and he seals her lips with a kiss that makes her insides drip like melting wax. The two become one once again. Check out the Dr. Bob Patreon and become a junior researcher today. Now go and watch another entry from the files of Dr. Bob, like
So yes, that was the one of the possible origin stories for that particular SCP. Is that he was once a researcher who got stuck into some kind of strange pocket dimension, stuck in World War I, and slowly got transformed into a monster through some anomalous means. Yeah. It's, yeah. When you get right down to it, pretty much all the stories the SCP Foundation has to offer have
SCP-5688 might be another SCP that was created as an incidental result of the Foundation's research. Alternatively, SCP-5688 may be the fate that awaits Dr. Henrik after an event that has yet to occur in our reality. The third party responsible, whether it is a conscious force or not, would be the unknown catalyst of SCP-5688's existence. Maybe the event that turned the hapless Dr. Henrik's hand into SCP-5688 will never actually occur in our reality, but did fully and irrevocably occur in its own version of reality. While this might be good news for Dr. Henrik, as he won't need to fear for the safety of his limbs, it also means SCP-5688 exists and will continue to exist regardless of anything the Foundation can do. Check out the Dr. Bob Patreon and become a junior researcher today.
That
Now
is
go and
just
watch another
wild.
entry from the files of Dr. Bob, like SCP-513, a cowbell.
So I was gonna, watch some more, but we got a good amount of content today. Alrighty, I think. I don't think we need to watch anymore. So, yes, James? Can I help you? You are Cheddar Boy? You are Cheesy Boy? You're Cheddar Poof? Ah, you're weirded out, but you didn't get jump scared by anything. You got exactly what you wished for. But just like with a monkey's paw or any other kind of wishing apparatus, you must be careful with what you wish for. Anyways, that'll be the end of tonight's particular stream. Thank you all for joining me. You've all been a lovely audience. Stay awesome, possums. And, I guess, stay out of traffic.